Ever wondered what happens when professional athletes let their guard down? Well, we're about to take a deep dive into the most embarrassing arrests in NHL history. From Dustin Byfuglien's boating incident to Chris Nilan's shoplifting spree, these stories are a testament to the fact that even the best of us can make mistakes. So, let's get started. Starting off our list is Dustin Byfuglien, a defenseman for the Winnipeg Jets.
Well, the more you play together and, you just get comfortable with everyone out there and everything just goes good, and we have been struggling a little bit lately, and now it's just starting to click now.
Near the end of the 2011 offseason, Byfuglien was arrested for boating while intoxicated on a lake in Minnesota. But the most embarrassing part of this incident was his physical state at the time of his arrest. Byfuglien weighed in at almost 290 pounds, 40 pounds over what he weighed during the previous season. Talk about a weight gain. Byfuglien was brought in after being booked on a charge of boating while intoxicated and, according to reports, refused to take a sobriety test. Doing that is a quick way to getting booked, and that's just what happened to Byfuglien as he was arrested and released later in the night. Even more stunning to read was the report on what Byfuglien weighed in at when he was brought in. Let's just say that if Byfuglien plays at the weight he checked into Hennepin County Sheriff's with, opposing forwards should remember to get the number of the Mack truck that hit them. At 605, having Byfuglien weighing in at 286 is remarkable if that's indeed the case. Considering that hockey players are always a bit leaner than your regular athlete makes this revelation all the more stunning. It's not as if Byfuglien has ever been a small guy. Just ask Roberto Luongo about that when it came to seeing around him in the playoffs back in 2010. Despite that legal breathalyzer reading, Byfuglien reportedly failed field sobriety tests. He was placed under arrest and taken for further questioning, but refused to provide a sample of his blood or urine, which counts as an automatic offense that carries a maximum penalty of a year in jail. Byfuglien's brush with the law is going to get a bit more serious. After being arrested on suspicion of boating while intoxicated 3 weeks ago, authorities in Minnesota are stepping things up and charging the Winnipeg Jets defenseman. Hennepin County sheriffs in Minnesota have hit Byfuglien with 4 charges of boating while intoxicated stemming from the incident on Lake Minnetonka. This is an unwelcome distraction for Byfuglien as he prepares for the start of a new season in a new location with the Winnipeg Jets. As it is, Byfuglien is preparing to play in tonight's preseason game in Winnipeg as the Jets make their first game appearance at the MTS Center. Byfuglien being a guy playing close to home, he's from Roseau, Minnesota, in Winnipeg, and having this off-ice legal problem to get a handle of creates a lot of distractions for the Jets' blue liner. Next on our list is Chris Nilan, also known as Knuckles, during his 13-year career in the NHL.
A situation for myself to finally give the Ranger fans something that they've been waiting for.
Nice to see you back. Continued good health to you.
One more thing, Bruce. I just want to tell you guys in the back room, no playing cards.
After retiring from hockey in 2009, Nilan's hands were no longer used for roughing up opponents on the ice, but for a different purpose. He was caught shoplifting at a shopping mall in Boston. Specifically, he was attempting to steal swim shorts. Nilan, along with James P. McGettrick, went into a dressing room with 3 pairs of shorts and returned with 2. When they left the store, Nilan was wearing blue Tommy Bahama swim shorts under the shorts he wore in. Nilan struggled with store security officers who followed him out of the store. He denied taking anything and even threw a punch at one of the guards, but missed. When Braintree police officers arrived, Nilan was still struggling with the security guards even after they knocked him down. The police officers managed to subdue Nilan and place him in handcuffs. Nilan and McGettrick were arrested. The case was dismissed, but Nilan was ordered to pay $100 in court costs and to stay away from the store. Despite the incident, Nilan was a Boston native who played 15 seasons in the NHL with Montreal, the New York Rangers, and Boston. His nickname was Knuckles for his role as an enforcer. Kevin Stevens, a key player in several successful NHL teams, was caught with several grams of crack cocaine after a game against the St. Louis Blues. The police arrived, and Stevens was compelled to participate in the NHL's substance abuse program.
The disease, I had the gene, I guess, and I hadn't activated it yet. So I was 28 years old, I never did anything. So I activated this thing with the cocaine and kind of didn't do it all the time. It wasn't, but it changed the chemistry of the way I thought and the way I perceived to be things.
Stevens, a former Boston College and Bruins forward, was charged with conspiracy to sell oxycodone. The charges stemmed from an incident in the fall of 2015. He had experienced numerous substance abuse issues during and after his NHL career, and entered the NHL substance abuse program prior to his retirement from hockey in 2002. Stevens played part of one season with his hometown Bruins in 1995 and 96, where he didn't live up to the lofty expectations he'd made for himself after a couple of 50-goal seasons seasons with the Penguins and was traded to the Los Angeles Kings for Rick Tocchet in January 1996. Despite the incident, Stevens has since dedicated himself to helping others struggling with addiction. He started the Power Forward Foundation, which provides sober living scholarships, therapy dogs, and other support for individuals in recovery. Mike Richards, a two-time Stanley Cup champion, was caught trying to bring oxycodone across the border into Canada. The RCMP charged him with possession of a controlled substance. The LA Kings, citing a material breach of the standard player's contract, later terminated his contract. Richards, a former Philadelphia Flyer and Los Angeles Kings forward, was stopped at the Emerson checkpoint while trying to leave North Dakota and enter Manitoba. His vehicle was searched and a controlled substance was found. Richards was immediately detained by Canadian police and questioned at the border crossing. Richards was supposed to make roughly $5.75 million this season and over the next 5 seasons under his current contract. The Kings found a clause in Richards' contract that allowed them to terminate his contract for a material breach of the requirements of his standard player's contract. Despite the incident, Richards, born in Kenora, Ontario, has a 12-year, $69 million US contract. He had 5 years, worth $22 million remaining on it when it was terminated. Bob Probert, one of the scariest players to ever play in the NHL, had issues with substance abuse throughout his career. In 1989, he was caught trying to cross the Canada-US border with 14.3 grams of cocaine hidden in his underwear. Probert, a Detroit Red Wings forward, was charged with smuggling cocaine across the border. Customs agents found the cocaine during a strip search at the US side of the Detroit-Windsor Tunnel. Probert was driving the vehicle and was with 2 women and a man. The vehicle was found to be littered with empty alcohol containers, and Probert's immigration document had expired. The charge carries a maximum 20 years in prison and $1 million fine on conviction.
That kind of hurt him. You know, he was playing injured and Datsuk too, and that's one of the reasons I think that they didn't win.
Probert was released after posting 10% of a $50,000 cash bond. He was ordered to remain in the United States pending a preliminary examination. Despite the incident, Probert, born in Windsor, Ontario, had a successful career in the NHL. He played for the Detroit Red Wings and the Chicago Blackhawks. Dino Ciccarelli, a former NHL player, was arrested for indecent exposure at his own home. He was caught walking around nude and was arrested when he tried to cover up. Ciccarelli, a former North Stars and Minnesota North Stars NHL player, was charged with public indecency and lewdness. He was found walking around nude in his home and was arrested when he tried to cover up. Despite the incident, Ciccarelli had a successful career in the NHL. He played for the Minnesota North Stars and the Detroit Red Wings and was known for his goal-scoring abilities. Steve Durbano, a former NHL player, was arrested in 1998 for running a prostitution ring. He was caught by an undercover cop who lured him into discussing the services they offered. Durbano, a defenseman, was known for his aggressive play and was involved in several off-ice incidents. In 1998, he was arrested for running an escort service in Welland, Ontario. The undercover officer baited Durbano into discussing the details of the services. Despite the incident, Durbano had a successful career in the NHL. He played for the Buffalo Sabres and the New York Islanders and was known for his high penalty minutes. Patrick Kane, a Chicago Blackhawks forward, was arrested on August 9, 2009 in Buffalo, New York for robbing and assaulting a taxi driver over 20 cents in change. Kane and his cousin were accused of assaulting a Buffalo, New York cab driver who told officers they beat him up during a dispute over the fare. Kane ultimately pleaded guilty to a non-criminal charge of disorderly conduct, and he and his cousin were ordered to send an apology to the cab driver. Despite the incident, Kane had a successful career in the NHL. He helped the Blackhawks win their 3rd Stanley Cup title in the past 6 seasons in June. He has been lauded in recent years for his growth after several off-the-ice incidents earlier in his career. Ed Belfort, a Hall of Fame goalie, got mixed up in some bizarre drunken events that ended with him being detained by the police. He was found wrestling with a security guard at a hotel and was forced to pepper spray him as he would not stop resisting. Belfort, a former NHL goaltender, was arrested in Bowling Green, Ohio, for public intoxication and criminal mischief. He was found on the floor, clutching a curtain rod that had been ripped out of the drywall above a window next to him. He was kicking the spa door while lying on the ground. Despite the incident, Belfort had a successful career in the NHL. He played for the Chicago Blackhawks, San Jose Sharks, Dallas Stars, Toronto Maple Leafs, and Florida Panthers. He was known as the Eagle and was a 3-time All-Star and 2-time Vezina Trophy winner. He won the Stanley Cup with the Stars in 1999. Claude Giroux, a Canadian, was arrested in 2014 for grabbing the behind of a police officer in broad daylight. He wasn't formally charged with anything, but he did spend the night in jail. And that's it, folks. These are the 10 most embarrassing NHL player arrests. Remember, even the best of us can make mistakes. Stay tuned for more exciting videos. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. See you in the next video.